Let's drink beer. It makes my mind clear. It takes me away from here. Let's drink beer. And let's drink beer. Pump it up, lift it up, drink it up.
All right, so what are we drinking?
So right now we got a good list of products here from Molson Coors beverage company. We have some pretty classic beers. We have our Miller High Life, which is made since 1903. We got some Coors Banquet, which is one of the original beers from the Coors Brewery. Of course, we have two different kinds of light American lager that we have right here. So we got Miller Lite, absolute classic, and then Coors Light came out in 1978. And then a little bit more of our future on what we're doing here. We got some Coors Pure. Organic. So hey, cheers. Here's to the High Life, you guys. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Champagne and beers.
Champagne and
Yeah, look at
beers.
that. Nice effervescence in there. That beautiful Belgian lace on the beer. That nice foam. Yeah, so an extremely light beer. You know, we've been brewing this for a long time in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. You know, so yeah, it just has that nice, really crisp, clean bite to it. Just perfect light beer.
Nice job on the classic throwback label also.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I mean, we have, you just kind of keep the heritage of it. You know, this is such a cool, like a mid-century kind of like look to it. You know, like somebody you'd see in like Happy Days or something, you know. But yeah, just a really awesome beer. I love it. It's one of my favorites. I drink it way too fast though, especially when it's nice and
It's
cold.
been my experience with
Yeah.
High Life too. Is it doesn't last very long.
Yeah, right.
You gotta just drink it real fast.
And it's just, man, the colder the better sometimes on this, you know.
Yeah, well, it's perfect for the culture and the climate here, right? I mean, you know, there's always sort of been like this craft beer, macro beer thing, but at some point, like these beers are really well made and they're cold, they're crisp, and they're perfect for the climate here. You know, it's hot all the time, you know, and this is something like a lot of people growing up here. It's like these are just classic beers.
It's having something to just, you know, when you don't want to think about what you're doing, just like, I like that, I know. Give me one of those. And it's an easy decision, nice and cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good, you know, tons of flavor. Got the Girl on the Moon, which is what this little logo is called up here, the Girl on the Moon. So yeah, she's been around.
Well, what's
for a
with that?
long time.
How did that?
You know,
become a
I'm not
thing?
sure exactly how that all came about. Some kind of marketing thing we did back, I think, like in like 1919s or 1920s, something like that. But she's on the brewery, so when you go to the brewery, like up in like the rocks or whatever, you can see a thing. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if you can pair this up with a little poke. This is pretty much a good classic beach snack, you know, ice cold beer, some good poke. Oh, good cuttlefish beer, yeah.
Because that's the thing. I mean, like, you know, in Hawaii, it's a little different. I mean, there's always snacking going on. There's always poo-poos. There's always something going on when you're drinking beers, right? I mean, it's kind of that classic thing. And, you know, we got some poke from Hibachi Grill, the cuttlefish, you know, that's kind of just a common thing, right? And these sort of like easy drinking, like sessionable beers always kind of go a long way.
It's because that act of sitting around with your friends and you're just snacking away, poo-poos, you don't want to put any thought into, you know, beer. You want to go for something quick and reliable, and you're like, everyone's gonna be happy with it. Poke and beer.
Yeah, there's such a light kind of a flavor to it, right? Like it's just so drinkable. It's not going to overpower the fish and everything. Like it's going to really relish on all the flavors that come out of the poke or cuttlefish. Yeah. So, yeah, so it's really great. Then with that little effervescence, like especially if you have the bubbles, right, if you will, like some of like the more mayo heavy, it'll kind of help to like clean it off on the palate, you know, and get you ready for one more bite, bro.
Yeah, and it goes down super easy.
Yeah.
And if you get a piece like I just did with the chili pepper,
Gotta clean
it. let it sit for a second, and then.
Yeah. You know, yeah, so I mean, it's what we're well known for, you know, making some really just clean, crisp, classic kind of American beers, you know, which, yeah, I mean, I know you guys know from the different brewing process and stuff like that. These beers aren't easy to make. It's really hard to make these really kind of cool American Pilsners, and we've been doing it a long time. Yeah, so like most of our beers get made in Golden, Colorado that come out to Hawaii. So it's really cool, you know, we're a big company, but has a lot of family in it. Like David Coors is still with the company. Pete Coors just left a few years ago, but they are so particular about Coors Banquet, especially with the Rocky Mountain water, that they still only allow it to be brewed in Golden, Colorado. So no matter if you're drinking it in Maine or Alaska, it all comes from Golden to use that Rocky Mountain water in there.
That's the thing. The water is, in a lot of things you do, the water is everything. So if you're going to make your name for Rocky Mountain water, you better keep using it every time.
Well, and even historically, I mean, you go back to like historical styles, they all developed around particular cities that had a particular water profile. And it's, I think we lost sight of that sometimes with some of these breweries got really big, but at the end of the day, they're built around like a particular water source, regardless of, I mean, even Guinness, I mean, that's a gigantic brewery. But that style of a dry Irish stout in Dublin is the way it is because of where it is, and no different than Coors Banquet or anything else.
Milwaukee,
yeah, Milwaukee. It's got a specific water profile, and it's super important. But you know what? We're gonna head off to a quick break, and we're gonna come back and tap into some more Miller Coors.
Can't wait. Let's do them.
Bringing you what matters. Viewers can receive the Star Advertiser digital full access subscription for just $9.95 per month. Go to staradvertiser.com and click on subscribe. Use the code AHITHING.
Hey, welcome back to The Art of Beer. We're here with Bill Carl from Molson Coors. What are we drinking next, Bill?
God, we might as well tap right into the Rockies and go here with some Coors Light. A little CL Smooth here, the Silver Bullet. Yeah. Oh, man.
What a sound.
Great. Yeah, that is a beautiful sound, isn't it? Cheers, gentlemen. Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, so Coors Light, pardon me. We started making this in like 1978. This is one of the original kind of light beers, really kind of kicked off that movement. Obviously a lot of light beers came around that time. You had the Bud Light, Miller Light, obviously, Coors Light, stuff like that. Yeah, super, super popular beer for a long time. It's one of the best sellers here in Hawaii. I think I sell twice as much Coors Light as I do Miller Light in the state of Hawaii, which is great. So, yeah.
I think there's kind of there's a long-standing culture history with Coors Light in Hawaii, and it's interesting. I mean, we were talking about how like there's families who going back for generations, it's Coors Light is the beer that they drink. Mm-hmm. And
Coors Light has been what my family has been drinking since, before I can remember. So growing up at family parties, it was coolers of Coors Light. Yeah. There was Coors Light everywhere. So, and it's one of those things, I drink it to this day. But it's ingrained in me through my grandpa and my uncles and my dad, and that's just what we always did. And even it's no knock on anything nicer. Like I like nicer beers, or not nicer. I should say craft beers. Love you. But
there's like a thing, right? Like it's like you got everybody's like, oh, these are macro and that's craft and all that stuff.
Right.
Like,
so there's different categories and styles of beers, I should say. But it's deep rooted in. It's almost like we talk about comfort food. This is just something that we do. My family does. My uncle, and it's your go-to. You go there straight to it, and you're not disappointed.
Yeah, exactly.
I enjoy every Coors I drink. So
thank you.
I always heard the story that Coors Light had such an ingrained part of the culture here was because back when it came out in the late 70s and through the early 80s, it was, and it goes back to the quality and to the what the brewers wanted and the company wanted in the beers. It was the only beer that was being cold refrigerated all the way to the island. So you talk to a lot of, I say old timers, but you talk to a lot of people and they're like, back in the day, the only beer that tasted really good was Coors Light because it was refrigerated the whole way to Hawaii. They took the extra time, they took the extra care, right?
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
So you talk, and there's some guys still to this day, they will only drink Coors Light because that's just the only beer that tasted good from way back when.
Yeah, so it wasn't so hot coming over. And
your beer would bake, right?
Like, the Coors family is really strict on quality.
And if it's somebody who, they canned it, refrigerated it, then shipped it warm, gets to Hawaii 4 weeks later and it's skunky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of skunky.
You run into a lot of that. So that cold shipped everything and plays right into staying fresh.
Yeah, and it's the same sort of ideals that craft brewers are still using today. It's you take pride in the quality and the craftsmanship on what you're putting in. It's just there's different scales, right? But at the end of the day, if you really believe in your product, you're gonna take the extra steps to get it to where it needs to go the way.
Oh, for sure. I think quality control, especially for consumers out there, right, is so important. A lot of times you don't know what goes into it. Like if the beer gets warm, right, it deteriorates, the flavor's off, it can get kind of, like you said, like skunky. You can just lose a little bit of its luster, And we are very, very strict on all of our qualities. So we have all of our dates that are on the cans, right? We have them on there on whether it's Coors Light, Miller Light, Banquet, whether it's my Keystone or Mickey's or any of the kind of products we have. We're really strict about the code dates on them. drives the distributor crazy sometimes a little bit when we're going and we have to dump a bunch of beer, but we won't, if it's one day over, we will not, risk that quality issue. So, yeah, really
but that's
strict on it.
consistency, and that's what people, they know about a company like yours. They're not going to sell you old beer. You're going to dump it out, and you can rely on that.
Yeah, so we have the company, we have to do audits all the time, and so, we're going out once a month and checking, and it's a big pain in the butt sometimes to go to every little mom and pop, little bar, restaurant, whatever it is, to really check that quality.
So if you find beer, say the cold date's July 1st, and it's July 3rd.
Nope, get it out.
And it's gone.
Yep, get it out, dumped it.
That's great. It's one of the great things about these beers. Anywhere you go and you get it, you know exactly what you're going to get.
Yeah, it's always consistent.
Yeah, really, I know all that quality control is really, really, really important.
Yeah, but those little steps are what matter. You
Yep.
know, that's the extra details and the extra step you do that puts into your product that people know about and they're stoked on. So
For sure.
Great. So let's give our audience a chance to go grab a beer, and we'll give you guys a second. We'll be right back.
The Art of Beer is brought to you by Growler Hawaii. 100 taps of great beer and other beverages. Stop in for some drink, food, and fun. Growler Hawaii, located at 449 Kapahulu.
all right, we're back. Let's drink some Miller Lite.
Let's do it. Milwaukee's finest here. Man, you're right, Dave. What a great sound. Yeah. Cheers. Cheers. Perfect.
So why is it LITE?
Let's just jump right into that.
Yeah, I'm actually not 1,000% sure why it's called LITE, but I was at the brewery. They were kind of saying that it's spelled different because it's brewed different. So it happens, like, and Tim and you guys know, when you brew a quote-unquote light beer, usually you brew like a really heavy beer and you kind of water it down. But with Miller Lite, they don't do it. It's actually brewed specifically to be like this. So it's brewed as a light beer. So that's why Miller Lite has a lot more flavor than a lot of other beers that we use, and it's really fantastic. It has a specific brewing process, so we don't water it down like other light beers would.
What do they call that? That high gravity brewing, right?
Exactly.
Something like that, where
Yeah.
you brew like a high batch and then you just dilute it down, right, to get to the alcohol content you want.
Yeah, for sure. So we don't do that. We have a specific process that brews it. So it's actually brewed to be this kind of like light beer. So that's what they told me. It's spelled different because it's brewed different.
But isn't this like one of the this is like the original light beer, right?
Yeah, this one came out about 1975.
And it kind of like sparked the light beer.
Absolutely.
Like kind of
Yeah,
arms race, right?
and then we went through, we had a bunch of package changes and stuff like that. We had different logos, whatever, but man, we went back to
like
this
going back to
white
this one.
can.
Yeah, the
This
classic
original just feels so classic. And this beer just sells so well, especially in Oahu. People just crush it here. It's a great pool beer. It's a great, on the golf course, you can't beat it. And we have those aluminum pints that reseal. So on the golf course, you can reseal them, put them right back in the cooler, so it comes out, it's always cold.
I tell you where Miller Lite is really great because I think it's one of the more flavorful light beers. Yeah. It's true, different breast, but it will hold up to the food you want to do. So I drink Coors Light all the time, but if I got a slice of pizza in my hand or some poke with some hot peppers, definitely reach for a Miller Lite, the bigger full flavor to it.
Exactly.
It really pairs well with food if you don't want to go past the light beer category.
Yeah, so that's what we do. We do a bunch of local commercials. Sometimes we'll feature local restaurants, whatever, but we have like a sports bar pick of the week, and we usually use Coors Light for that. Like you're kind of watching sports, but when we do food, we always use Miller Lite with it because it has a little bit more flavor. And it's a really light beer. Like I know there's some ultra light beers, I guess, if you will, that are out there that people really enjoy. This is only, it has 2.6 calories or carbs, and ours is 3.2.
2.6 calories?
So, no, 2.6 carbs.
That's my jam!
Yeah. So, yeah.
Changing teams!
Yeah, so we only have one more calorie than some of these ultralight beers, and it's only a half a carb more. So a half a carb is about half a boiled peanut. Is the whole difference in it, and but the flavor profiles are just totally different. So much more flavor in Miller Lite.
It is.
Yeah. And this is good. We do this a lot with sports. I think with Coors Light, we do a lot of NCAA teams, like college football, stuff like that. With Miller Lite, this is more like baseball, pro baseball, and football that we really sponsor. Yeah.
I feel like Miller Lite. It's my guilty pleasure. I run a craft beer bar, and we don't sell this necessarily, but it's not necessarily what we do deal with. But it's such a good beer, and it's so consistent. And I think every craft brewer and every brewer, and even we're talking to winemakers, like they're always just, sometimes there's the right situation, the right time where it's like you're just looking for something super refreshing, super easy, and you know what you're gonna get, right?
Yep.
And for me, it's Miller Lite, right? Like that's always been my go-to. It's just something my dad drank, it's just something I'm just familiar with, right? And it's comforting in a way. And it's not to take away from like any of the other stuff that people do, but it's just like, it's just there. It's like a perfect like balance, right? Like.
And if you spend all day like thinking about craft beer and hops and malts and sours and all this stuff, and sometimes you just want to not think about the beer and you just want something cold at the end of the day that's like refreshing and delicious.
Yeah, and even when you're not thinking about it, it still has all that great flavor. It has a good hop, like a good hop kiss to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. And actually, you see a lot of kind of craft brewers, and they're making, it's really funny, they're all making kind of like light style beers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Craft light.
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
I mean, they're making these beers
because it's what they like to drink,
Exactly, yeah. Which is, and it's fantastic to see, And again, making this beer is incredibly difficult because there's nowhere to hide, right? Like it's just it's a naked beer at the end of the day. I mean,
we had one of our local brewers who I'm sure is going to be on this show, but they had their wedding, one of the owners, and I can't tell you how many cases of Miller Lite he asked me for their wedding. I wouldn't embarrass the person or anything, no names, no whatever. But yeah, they pounded through some Miller Lite.
Yeah, but that's a cool thing, right? It's like it's beer, right? At the end of the day, it's like it's what makes you happy and what refreshes you, and I think that's the most important of anything. So
definitely beer is good at making us happy and refreshing us. And on that note, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Yeah, cheers, boys.
The Art of Beer is brought to you by Value Furniture. Has over 10,000 items from acclaimed designers to make furnishing your home easy. Create something beautiful with value. Beachside Roofing, the leaders.
Right on, we're back. What are we drinking next?
Well, I think let's hop on the Coors Banquet.
Yeah, let's get on the Banquet.
Oh, sure. There you go,
You
Dave.
going, man?
I'll take this one. Oh, man. These
Stub-
little stubby
stubby
bottles.
bottles.
All right, cheers,
Cheers.
you guys. Thanks so much for enjoying some great beer with me today.
Thank you, Bill.
So you gotta explain the history behind this beer.
Yeah, this is one of the original ones from the Coors company, right? And this is just known as, back in the cowboy days and stuff, right? So there was a long time, like I know my parents tell me the stories, you can never get Coors, like outside of Colorado. We're from Pennsylvania, so they would go and ship it back, and I know even to Hawaii you couldn't get Coors, right?
It was like
The
craft
one to
beer
keep
before craft beer.
Exactly, yeah. So it's been smuggled across state lines, like we have
Yeah.
all this kind of like marketing about that going on kind of currently. And yeah, it's just one of those things that people couldn't get outside of Colorado. And yeah, again, it was like a white whale, you would have to go and travel and get it and, throw it in your trunk and yeah. But yeah, it's great. Again, the Coors family only allows this beer to be made in Golden, Colorado. So
Why is that again?
Classic. Because of the water. The water beer is, over 90%
Like
water.
95, yeah.
Yeah, so water is super, super important when it comes to the flavor, when it comes to the texture, all this kind of stuff. And so the water they have in Colorado, the Rocky Mountain water, as I say, is really important. So they don't want it brewed. Even though we have breweries in Milwaukee, we have breweries in Georgia and Virginia and Texas, the only place this can get brewed is in Colorado because of the water.
So when we talk about water, for people, what is it about what's in the water or not in the water that makes the difference? Is this like
there's different like minerals that'll be in there. It depends if the water's hard, if the water's soft, if it has a little bit more like salty, like a salinity to it, would make a difference. I mean, not
It's
to
like
get
the
all
rock
geeky.
that it goes through, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, not to get all geeky, but it depends on the chemistry and how you brew it. So that's why if you have certain places that are really great for making really dark beers, like in Dublin, right? Or, in Golden, Colorado, the water is perfect for making these really lighter beers. There's not a lot of like minerals and stuff like that to get in the way. Right. Yeah.
So a lot of places that are like heavy limestone, the water coming through that. So
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some really famous waters all throughout the world. And Pilsen in the Czech Republic, which we also have Pilsner Yorkel, which is the original Pilsner beer, which all these are designed after. And it's because of the water they had. It was just perfect for making this crisp, clean beer.
Light beer where it's like, there's not a lot of other like flavors in there. Like a lot of dark malt, it's just malt, water, hops, right? And it's all there.
Yeah,
Keeping it simple.
Exactly.
Keep it good.
Keeping it simple.
Yeah, and it goes perfect with some nice spicy.
Yeah, so
Coke-y.
we do a lot. This is kind of known as like a little bit of a cowboy beer, a little bit, right? It's kind of like what you drink. It just has like this, I don't know, this Western kind of like look and feel. So we do a lot of rodeo promotions in Hawaii. So we do like the rodeo on the Big Island we're a sponsor of. There's one in Maui, and Waimea on Kauai. So yeah, you'll see this, and we have the Coors Banquet signs up. I had to buy like barrel covers and stuff like that to have the people kind of go around. Really kind of this Paniolo culture behind the beer. So yeah, some good like, and also country bars and stuff like that. They do really well with Coors Banquet, like Nashville's and like Dixie Grill, stuff like that.
Is this the bottle shape that it's always come in? Is this kind of like the traditional thing?
No, we've had it in different kind of bottles, but
Yeah.
a few years back, I think off of some of the success we've had with Miller Lite, going back to that classic look, then we kind of went back to this kind of classic bottle, and it's done well. We have it in regular bottles too, the long necks, if you will. But yeah, the stubbies, they're really popular.
I feel like it's something you always get to circle back to every generation or so. Is go back to an older logo and then really either makes them your customer base nostalgic, or brings in another one and says, "Oh, that's different." It's
Oh,
cool.
for sure.
So it's good to cycle back every now and then. And
Yeah, nostalgia works, really well. Yeah, we did that just a few years back, right? We do Zima as well, and we produced some Zima for the summer, and it just went gangbusters, right? And like, oh my God, I haven't had this since the 90s, right?
The seltzer for seltzers, exactly. Right?
Yeah.
God, were they terrible!
Oh man, we had the Jolly Rancher company come in, and they had the booth right there at our convention, and we could have all the Jolly Ranchers and the Zima. But yeah, I don't see Zima coming back this summer or next summer. But yeah, it was a good experiment.
Through, right?
Exactly.
I mean, no one for sure like carbonated
but you
soda
crushed
water.
it for that whole summer.
That summer,
that was a
everybody
big
wanted
thing.
it because they haven't had it. You put your New Kids on the Block CD on, and and crank some Zima and some Jolly Ranchers, right?
All right. Well, Bill, I want to thank you for coming on. Enjoyed all of these beers. We're going to take a cheers
All
and
right,
take
cheers,
a break
everybody.
and join us for an extended version on YouTube.
Yeah.
Welcome to the extended edition of The Art of Beer with Bill Carl from Molson Coors.
Absolutely.
Let's drink some busy.
Okay, so we've been drinking all the beers, and obviously we've had the beer companies are all like diversifying, right? So
Absolutely,
everything, even the craft breweries, they're not just making beer anymore, right? Because obviously it's a business. You guys gotta make money, and seltzers have gone through the roof over the last couple of years. So, and you guys aren't any different. You guys are jumping into the game. You guys have a bunch of different brands. So what do you guys got going on there?
Yeah, so here in Hawaii, we have Vizzy, and we also have Coors Seltzer. So a really popular trend right now also in beer is almost like better for you, like some of the younger generation, kind of our target audience is 21 to 35. Obviously you guys aren't in that target audience, but
Hey, tax!
And that's
Well, it's been nice having Bill Carl.
so a lot of trends that are coming up is like better for you, right? Like, lower calorie, lower carb, this, that, and the other, but also with seltzer is a little bit of a sweeter kind of a palate too. So with Vizzy, like it's really low carb, it's really low calorie, zero sugar, but we also add, our good point of difference is we have Acerola Cherry, which is a superfruit, has a lot of vitamin C.
Acerola.
So Acerola Cherry, it comes from the rainforest, David. So that's our kind of big point of difference. We've got this lemonade that just came out, which is fantastic. We've got a couple of different variety packs you can find in stores, and it's just so drinkable when it's hot. We also have Topo Chico, which is a new one. So we have Topo Chico hard seltzer that is not available in Hawaii yet. It's only on mainland, but hopefully next year we'll be able to see that.
So Topo Chico is traditionally has been like a soda water, like a mineral water from Mexico, right?
Absolutely.
So what's sort of like the alcoholic version of it coming in?
Yeah, since we don't sell it here, I don't have a ton of the info. I know we have like lemon lime flavors and stuff like that would go.
But it's
well
basically
with,
like a hard
with the
seltzer
Mexico.
version of the mineral water, right?
Exactly. We essentially use the mineral water and then we add the
It's
alcohol
probably
kind of
crushing
base
because
to
Topo
it.
Chico takes off like wildfire on the mainland.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's really great. It has a really aggressive bubble. Like the carbonation on there is like really like effervescent.
We have definitely called it San Pellegrino.
Yeah.
That's definitely a name for it that's going around in circles.
Yeah, but we have all kinds of
great.
new like innovation stuff too. You know, we just have an energy drink we just came out with The Rock, with Dwayne Johnson, and it's called Zoa. So it's an energy drink. It's like a better for you. Has a lot of like kind of vitamins and minerals and stuff like that. It has the energy comes from like green tea and green coffee, so it's not just like, you know, make you all jittery. It's a really kind of a good caffeine buzz on it, and obviously with The Rock behind it, you know, I mean,
It's gonna sell.
and with The Rock
8 million
being,
cases.
yeah, with The Rock being from Hawaii, Hawaii is like, I think we're the #1 seller of Zoa right now in the country, which is like incredible, right? So yeah, just all kinds of stuff that we're doing to diversify, and yeah, so it's great.
All right, Bill. I know we've been teasing you about Vizzy.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and try it.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have it?
Let's go.
We might need some
We got more.
Need some more glasses on that one because we got water glasses.
Or we can grab more.
Just,
more cans.
Yeah,
if you
get
just
some
grab
more.
3 more cans.
So would you? Yeah. So I mean, so it's kind of interesting because it's like it's not just the big beer companies. It's all the it's craft breweries. Everybody they're diversifying, right? And you know, obviously the show's definitely talking about beer,
Yep.
but you know,
This is a big part of beer now.
big part of beer companies and being able to sustain is being able to make things that people want to drink, right?
Cheers, you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for enjoying some Vizzy today. Yeah, so this is our new Vizzy lemonade. This is I have the strawberry. You guys all have the same one?
And the peach.
And peach.
I got strawberry lemonade.
Yep, strawberry lemonade. So again, 0 grams of sugar, really low, right around 100 calories. You know, it has a little bit of sweetness to it without being
How is
really
that? How
overly
is that?
sweet.
How is it? It's got a.
It's with
sweetness to
cane
it.
sugar, but a lot of it kind of ferments out. So like when they're in the brewing process, it kind of, you know, it takes all the sugar away,
Right.
which is cool. Yeah, but I mean, good luck going to a beach in Hawaii right now and not seeing just seltzers like left and right. You
It's
know?
everywhere, right?
But you're also right. It's not beer, but it's part of beer culture. I mean, it's what people are grabbing to go to the beach. You know,
Yep.
grabbing a 12-pack of this and a 12-pack of that. So it is, everything has its place when you're looking at the whole community.
Do you
thing.
see like a carryover at some point where people are like, you know, they might be drinking this and then at some point they might progress into something, you know, like different and maybe, you know, like,
Yeah, I hope so.
you know,
but
and that's
yeah,
always
I
the
mean,
goal, right? You know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you know, I mean, the kind of sweeter, a little bit more full flavored stuff, you know, almost like juicy really kind of taste when it comes out of these different seltzers. And, you know, everyone loves what they can't have. Like right now, it's like the punch is really popular. A month ago, it was lemonade. The week before that, it was iced tea that came out, right? And they just kind of like go after all the new things. But yeah, I mean, everyone's making a seltzer right now. We'll see, you know, how sustainable it really is. If everybody can really sustain to have their own, you know, but
And then you
yeah,
can
it's
go
just
back to the
gangbusters.
classic, you know? I mean, you just go back to like straight up beer
So you mean I can put this one over here?
and then just
And
go
I can
straight
bring
to
this one
classic.
back over here?
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
You know, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, you know, there's a taste for everybody, right? I mean, that this might not be, you know, up some people's alley, but it's up others, and the great thing is, I think there's more like variety now than there's
Ever been.
ever been. You know, even just flavor profile.
Yeah, and it's really hard, right? Because like in the, you know, in the restaurant or the hotels or the stores, there's so many more like innovations coming out, but the coolers or the restaurant isn't getting bigger, right? Like there's only so many beers you can fit on this particular table.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if we come out with 1,000 new things. This table isn't getting bigger, so it makes it really competitive.
But it does help out as well because so many different styles going on right now for as in a restaurant to have less slots. You know, I've got only these 12 slots and I've got to hit the whole spectrum of people. So there's a lot of things right now because the things are so different that are carryover in between. You could have this or this and they're kind of similar. And so it having so many different styles actually helps you out. I mean, you're not forcing something on. Yeah, I'm sure this will be okay with this. You're like now you're more confident. Be like, all right, I've got this, and it'll match with this. It'll pair. You know, so it's easier to please more people in a crowd. You know, so it's great. We're living in a great time to have beer. Everyone's
it's like the best ever. I mean,
it's
you have more variety, and the quality has never been better. Like you can get all kinds of different flavors, and it's all really, really well made. Like you've never in the history of like humankind like been able to get that. Like most of the time, the beer's always been sour and kind of crap. You know, like at the end of the day, I mean. And now it's like we can get like perfectly made beer all the time whenever we want.
And
Yeah, it's a
you
good
can get it
problem
for
to have.
every different time of day or occasion, or what are you doing? Are you eating dinner? Are you standing at a bar? You know, the options are endless at this point. It seems like
You need a Flintstone vitamin.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now it's like now you can drink and you can get like antioxidants in your drink, right?
There you go.
You know.
Everyone needs to stay healthy right now, so let's get your vitamin C going.
Keep your body healthy.
You know, yeah.
Get your vitamin C. Have a visit.
Heck yeah. It's a lot more fun than drinking orange juice.
Your breakfast seltzer, right? We had breakfast beer earlier on another show. Now we got breakfast seltzer.
Yeah, for sure.
Your smoothie, that's like your smoothie seltzer.
Throw that in a blender with a bunch of ice.
Yep. Yeah.
I do think it is. It's really great. I mean, I think the idea, even with building a hotel, bar menu, is like we're trying to find out how to be more inclusive. How to, you don't want to exclude someone who is gluten intolerant. So you have to have those other options for people. People who are looking for a little bit less calories, a little bit something different to drink. You got to have. They want to be part of the party too. It's not just for,
Drinkers.
Yeah,
Heavy drinkers.
And I'll drink a Coors tan can. We're at a pool, so it's always in cans. But I'll drink cans all the time. But it's all you just gotta have that. You gotta have things for everybody.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, it's like there's a good mix, right? Where you have some people don't want to have the macro stuff, and some people it's like again, it's like there's just a time and place for everything, and I think hopefully we're kind of past that point where it's like this constant struggle back and forth. I mean, there's always competition. I think that's a great thing. Like there should be competition where you
makes you better.
Yeah, it makes it better, and that's what built. The only reason America has a craft brewing industry is because they wanted to fight, and that's great. And now it's like and it should be always like that. There should always be some scrappiness in it.
Oh, it's a giant Royal Rumble. Everybody's
Everybody's
punching everybody
and
else.
we all benefit because there's
we win.
we
Consumers
win, right?
win.
Yeah, exactly.
Consumers
We absolutely
win.
win because it puts the bigger beer companies who have more resources kind of on their toes, and they're going to innovate more, and then it's going to put the smaller guys on their toes, and they're going to innovate more. And it's like I always said, like even at our shop, I'm like, yeah, it's like I'm okay with that both sides. Like let people decide, like let people figure it out, and let people drink what they want to drink, and it's like don't ever shame somebody for what they want to drink.
Absolutely, different strokes for different folks.
Exactly,
Man,
it's like there's always a time and a place.
Yeah.
And it's like. I love hearing that when people's like, yeah, if you give me a cold beer in the right spot, it's fantastic. I don't think if it's well made, it's well made. That's a thing, and especially here when you can have poo-poos like this, and you can have, I don't know. It's like I think Hawaii is a little different where, the poo-poo culture, and drinking.
Sitting in the garage, with poke out and beers out.
Guaranteed.
It's not the same as anywhere else.
No, it's so different.
Sitting in the garage thing doesn't work. At least not for Michigan. Not where I'm from. I'm from Michigan. That's where the cars come from. That's where the car goes. Not the TV, but man, you come out here and it makes sense. It's like, yeah, of course that's what you do.
But in Hawaii, if you drive down your neighborhood and on a Friday night at 7 p.m., you go past 12 houses, 3 or 4 of them have all their family sitting out front doing this.
Yeah.
And that's it's great. I love it.
Yeah. And you're sharing a talking story, and I think that's the important part. Is everybody's just talking story, having some drinks, and then sharing some food, and it's gotta be it's communal, right? And I think that's the important thing with all this.
It's one of my favorite things about beer is that it is communal. I mean, it's starting from the beginning. They were drinking out of one pot, But with beer, I don't buy a 12-pack and go home and drink it myself. I'm like, hey, come with me. Hey, come over. It is a communal thing, even though it could be in singular cans. We're all doing it together. Let's go.
Right. Totally.
So, all right. So, we want to thank Bill Carl from Molson Coors coming out.
Yeah.
Hibachi Grill, throwing us some poke to enjoy with our beer. Guys, this has been a great time.
Beer
Cheers.
Okay. Absolutely. Thanks, everybody.
Banquet.
Yeah.